Hello, my name is Patricia Russell, and welcome back to Becoming Resilient podcast. This is episode 3. I believe that resilience is a muscle that you exercise and it gets stretched through every challenge we face. Resilience is not something you attain overnight. It is a process. And today's episode is going to be very important for those of you who may have received a diagnosis of breast cancer, any form of cancer. And if you are not going through cancer, you could be going through some sort of a financial challenge, an emotional challenge, or a relationship challenge. But what I want you to understand is that the mind is a very powerful thing. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and that has been the slogan of the United Negro College Fund since 1972. That quote has become very permanent in my life because I've challenged young people, challenged older people, challenged people who want to be lazy on their game, that it is not wise to let your mind go, but to continue to feed it. Because how you manage your mind, how you manage your thoughts is going to impact how you journey through this diagnosis or any other diagnosis that you might receive. When you're given a diagnosis of cancer, it hits you in all parts. And one of the first things that tends to go a little bit, shall we say, crazy is our mind. Because we have all kinds of thoughts depending on what our relationship has been with that kind of diagnosis. When it comes to breast cancer or cancer on a whole, most people tend to draw from their family experiences or from what their beliefs are connected to that illness or that disease. I remember sitting in the surgeon's office and I remember hearing the words and how it affected me. They hit like the swoosh that you hear when a tennis ball is thrown through the air. Do you remember playing dodgeball in school? It's that game where one person stands in the middle and you're surrounded by a whole lot of other people who are trying to get that ball and hit you. And when that ball hits you, the persons that get the ball, whoever gets the ball, really wants to throw it with force because they think that by throwing it with force, it's going to get you any faster. Anyways, by the time you get hit by that ball, it hurts. And I can tell you that that's how I can relate hearing those words in that surgeon's office, how it hit me. And my mind could have gone all over the map. And I won't lie to you, it did go a little bit off. Because when something comes to you from nowhere, when you get hit by something and you didn't see it coming, like that ball in the game, it can throw you for a loop. If that's you right now, because you've been thrown a curveball, if that's you because you didn't see it coming, it came without warning, hold on tight. I'm going to give you some ammunition to help get you through it. Your mind and what you feed your mind with is going to be very impactful to how you get through this journey. Mindset is defined as being a set of beliefs or that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. It influences how you think and how you behave in the world. So let me say that again. Mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. It influences, so it has great impact on how you think and feel and how you behave, how you show up. So I had a little bit of a relationship with cancer because my mom had received a diagnosis just 6 months prior to me receiving this diagnosis. How funny. So immediately I had to pull from what I saw she had gone through or was going through at that time. And you know what? She was thriving. She was fighting. She was doing what she needed to do to get through the treatment. We were working on it together. And I determined when I heard that diagnosis, when I left that doctor's office, I determined in my mind that I was going to win. And that is what I want to encourage you to do. From the time you hear that diagnosis, you have to come to the conclusion that although you have seen the effects, although you have seen what has happened to other people, that does not have to be your story. That does not have to be your story. Yes, you're going to go through a challenge, but you determined from the time you start out the gate that you're going to win. I don't know if you've ever run in a race, if you've ever done any kind of track and field or played a game. When I played basketball in high school, we set out that we were going to win that game. You talk to any athlete that's involved in any kind of competition, they don't show up at a game to lose. They show up at the game to win. And so when you hear the words, or when anybody hears the words, when you hear that word that you have got cancer, and sometimes the world stops when you hear that word. And then when the doctor or the practitioner goes on to tell you the details of what's happening and what they might have to do, you might not hear anything after that. And if you're in that place right now, grab a hold of those thoughts and determine, I am going to win. Because when you say I am, you're telling your brain, you're telling your body, you're telling your soul, you're telling your spirit to respond in a different way. And so you want to start out with that winning mindset. Like I said, when we showed up for a game, we didn't show up to lose. Why are we coming if we're showing up? But we showed up and we decided from the outcome that we were going to win. Cancer is not a death sentence. I'm going to say that again. Take a deep breath. Say it with me. Cancer is not a death sentence. It is when you receive the diagnosis, what it does is it identifies what is happening in your body. That's what a diagnosis is. It's an identification of the nature of the illness that the doctor realizes you have. After examination, after testing, that's what you get. So I believe that when you get the diagnosis, here's the positive thing. You're wondering, how can there be anything positive about a diagnosis? Well, let me tell you, there are a lot of illnesses that go undiagnosed or undetected or don't have a name. I believe that when you get the diagnosis, what happens is you get to know what to call it. You also get to know how to pray about it. I like to pray specifically. I believe that if you're going to pray, you shouldn't just pray out of the blue. You shouldn't have to waddle with the words, but call it for what it is. If it's cancer, you can say, God, the doctor has diagnosed me with cancer. So you can go to God with intelligence and say, this is what it's called. It gives you the opportunity to research the name of it. So you're not only researching symptoms, but you're able to put a label on it. It gives you the clarity to know what is going on in your body. Not that it's a flu, not that it's an ache and pain, but it's cancer. Can I go over that again? It gives, when you get the diagnosis, if you get the diagnosis, it gives me an opportunity to pray specifically. It gives me the opportunity to research the name. Thirdly, it gives me the opportunity for clarity to know what's happening in my body. It also helps me to know that something is happening and that I can take action on it. That I'm not waddling and saying, well, this pain is here and I don't know what it is. I don't know what to call it, but it's a pain, but I got a label for it. So remember, mindset is a set of beliefs. So what have you believed about cancer in the past? What have you believed about the diagnosis of fibromyalgia? What have you believed about the diagnosis of maybe pancreatic cancer? Whatever you have heard and whatever you have believed is going to affect how you think. Whatever you have heard, whatever you have believed is going to affect how you think. So if, for instance, I believed that I was going to win, I believed that I was going to fight, I believed that I was going to face this illness and I was going to come out winning. And so because my belief was that, it impacted how I showed up. Because I showed up with the mindset that I was going to win. Now, you're probably saying, you've got a really Pollyanna kind of mentality. Like, are you in the real world? I was, because I understood the power of belief. I also understood the power, and I was learning, and I grew in it. I didn't know everything all at once, but when I started to speak, it affected how I thought. And so I showed up with that mindset of positivity. I also showed up with that mindset of faith, because you see, I believe at the time of my diagnosis that God was able to not only heal me, but I also believe that he would give wisdom to the doctors and to my health team, the guidance that I needed to get through this journey. And that's what I want for you. I want for you to have a set of beliefs that is going to arm you and empower you to win on this journey. I don't know what you're facing today. I don't know what you're going to face tomorrow. But I need you to know, and I need you to be encouraged to arm your mind with thoughts that are good, with thoughts that are going to help to carry you through whatever journey that you're facing. Because I'm telling you that it may be a greater battle than you thought, but you can win it. You can get through it. But how you feed your mind is going to really affect how you win this game and how you transition through the situations that you're going to face. And you're going to win. If you determine from the outset that you want to win and that you're going to win, I promise you, you will win. I want to share scripture with you that comes from Philippians chapter 4. It's a very powerful scripture. It's a very powerful verse. And it is also something that I taught my children when they were very young. Because you see, I know how impressionable children's minds are. And although that was several years ago, it really challenged them to think upon things that would give them life so that they could face whatever they were challenged with to become the resilient people that they are today. So let me read it to you from the New Living Translation version. And it goes like this. It says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." See, the writer was very emphatic that what you think upon is going to affect your life. So remember, cancer is not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. So you need to arm yourself with the right mindset. That mindset is going to carry you on this journey, and it's going to carry you through any journey that you're diagnosed with. It's not going to happen overnight, because remember, resilience is a muscle that we develop. But as you exercise it, you're going to become stronger. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again.